Delchamp, who happened to glance out of the quincho into the backyard. "Hey, Ace," he called to Lieutenant Colonel Castillo. "As much as I would like to think the kid's playing cops and robbers, I don't think so." Castillo looked at him in confusion, then followed Delchamp's nod toward the backyard. Corporal Bradley, holding a model 1911 A1 45 ACP pistol in both hands, was marching across the grass by the swimming pool. Ahead of Bradley was a young man in a suit at the time, who held his hands locked in the small of his neck. Max walked on one side of him, showing his feet, and Maidkin on the other, showing hers. "What the hell?" Castillo exclaimed. Sonder Tor, with almost amazing grace for his bulk, got out of his chair and walked toward the door, brushing aside his suit jacket enough to uncover a black Sig Sauer 9mm P228 semi-automatic pistol in a skeleton holster